A competency hearing was scheduled for Shaquille Taylor, the man accused of killing Belmont student Jillian Ludwig.
She was hit in the head by a stray bullet in November of 2023 while out on a run in Edge Hill. The hearing today was set to determine if Taylor is fit to stand trial for the murder of Ludwig. We had crews in the courtroom today watching his friends and family and psychiatrists testified about his mental state and competency. We learned that since he was just a year and a half old, caregivers already had concerns about Taylor's development. He was placed in a special school and diagnosed with an intellectual disability.
If you think about what a typical 18-month-old is able to do in terms of language is very little, and yet his deficits were so severe and so obvious that even relative to other 18-month-olds who don't have a command of language yet, it was obvious that Mr. Taylor was not developing at the same sort of pathway.
And because Taylor has been in the legal system starting at 15 years old, they have a lot of background on him, which is why the hearing has lasted hours today. He was most recently found incompetent to stand trial for other charges back in 2023 and was released, which is when he allegedly killed Jillian.
If you think about what a typical 18-month-old is able to do in terms of language is very little, and yet his deficits were so severe and so obvious that even relative to other 18-month-olds who don't have a command of language yet, it was obvious that Mr. Taylor was not developing at the same sort of pathway.
Jillian's family has made it clear they want him to be found competent to stand trial. At points, they were audibly frustrated with some of the testimony. That hearing continues tomorrow. It's likely when we will get a decision in the case. Now, for context here, a law was passed stemming from Ludwig's death.
Now, nearly a year has passed since the law took effect, and our Steve Mailing checked in with state representatives to see how effective it's been so far.
After 18-year-old Jillian Ludwig was killed by a stray bullet while out jogging, ways to remember her popped up in different places, one of those being in the state legislature.
House Bill 1640, having received constitutional majority, everybody declare passed without objection.
When Jillian's law was passed and signed into law.
If it took her death for change to occur, that's just how it happened. I mean, that's just the way things went. Of course, it should have happened earlier.
Jillian's friend Gilda says that's because of the suspect, Shaquille Taylor's, shocking criminal history.
It was this motion to dismiss that was filed back in 2023 that became much of the basis for Jillian's law. Shaquille Taylor was found not competent to stand trial on a different charge back then, but he did not meet the requirements to be involuntarily committed. That's what friends and family say led to Jillian's death here in Edge Hill.
This was not an isolated case. There were hundreds of people in the city of Nashville that had been let loose after being found incompetent to stand trial.
Jillian's law aimed to change this by making sure people with circumstances similar to Taylor got court-ordered treatment instead of being released with the charges dropped.
If somebody is a danger to society and they're not capable of standing trial, you're just going to let them out.
And since its passage, the Harold Jordan Center is now approved to up their bed capacity from 6 to 12. But victim advocates like Verna Wyatt argue it's nowhere near enough.
How much is enough? I mean, it just seems like it's an impossible situation. But even the impossible situations, if it's creating victims, it's something that needs to be addressed.
And taking effect this July 1st, new updates to the law, ensuring people cannot walk out on court-ordered treatment even while the charges are on hold. It also requires the court to be notified with an outpatient treatment plan that accounts for community safety should someone ruled incompetent to stand trial be released. For WSMV4, I'm Steve Mailing.
We will be following this story tomorrow as well. We have crews at the courthouse waiting to hear what decision the judge makes. We will bring you those live updates on air and on our free WSMV4 News app.